Trump's Greenland push tests NATO commitment to mutual defense. This is so fucking crazy. NATO allies are increasing their military presence in Greenland against the backdrop of growing threat President Trump's takeover push. Why it matters. Europeans say the military buildup is meant to counter general Arctic threats, but US aggression towards a NATO-backed ally creates a relatively unprecedented scenario, planning to repel an attack from within. This is so, yo, I think we went full dumb, full retarded, chat. We went full dumb, full retarded, driving the news. Germany, Sweden, Norway, France, the UK, and the Netherlands are among the countries increasing their military presence in the country. We went full retard, dude. How is it possible that we're going to fight against our own alliance? European nations begin mobilizing forces for joint exercise activity in Greenland on Wednesday, according to the Danish Armed Forces. The stated goal is to train troops to operate in unique Arctic conditions and strengthen NATO's footprint in the area. Can you imagine that NATO turns on us? That would be fucking crazy. Activities could include guarding critical infrastructure, hosting allied troops, deploying fighter aircrafts, and naval operations. He says Germany said Thursday that specific contributions were not outlined yet, framing the move as an exploratory to keep transportation and trade routes free. Catch up quick. Trump has made his ambitions plain, saying Wednesday that NATO shouldn't stand in the way of the US taking control of Greenland, an autonomous territory of Denmark, a longtime US ally. Militarily, without the vast powers of the United States, NATO would... Yo, these niggas be crazy, bro. Trump be wiling, dude. How are you going to talk like this about your own ally? He says, militarily, without the vast powers of the United States, NATO would not be an effective force or deterrent. Oh my God. He says, they know that, and so do I. NATO becomes far more formidable and effective with Greenland in the hands of the United States. Oh my goodness, bro. He says Germany run by Mr. Burns right now. He says NATO L anyway. He says, what's NATO's charter says about collective defense? Article 5 of NATO's charter says that an armed attack against one member is considered an attack on all. That requires members to take any action deemed necessary, including military force. This don't make no sense, chat. Yo, we are wiling, dude. You know, the crazy thing is that we're proving Russia and China's point. Trump is proving Russia and China's point, man. The argument from... Let me be the devil's advocate here, guys. I'm going to explain to you guys what the argument is. The argument, Putin's argument is that America is an imperialist power that wants to expand their influence throughout the entire globe, and they want to expand their empire, right? And his argument is that as a sovereign nation, Russia does not feel safe with NATO encroaching on their territory, right? That was the argument, right? And our argument back in defense of ourselves against Putin's claim was that America is not an imperialistic power. We don't seek to expand our influence or control, and that we only want to have NATO in place as a deterrent, and a deterrent against further escalation by the powers that we consider adversaries, such as Russia and China, right? The Soviets, communism. But the problem is that our actions speak louder than our words. Our actions speak louder than our words, because we are encroaching on Russian territory. We are expanding our influence. And before, we were expanding our influence mainly economically, and, you know, militarily too, but more so economically. But now we're just going full on balls to the wall. Trump, yo, in the last 2-3 weeks, Trump has just gone full balls to the wall. Venezuela, threatening Mexico and Canada, threatening Panama for the Panama Canal, threatening Greenland, threatening Iran. Like, we've gone balls to the wall, chat. And honestly, if I were Russian or if I were Chinese, I would be worried. I would be thinking like, yo, what's America gonna do next? Because America is just going balls to the wall, guns blazing. Guns blazing, bro. We forgot about everything we said. Euro Royalty, thank you for joining the stream. And then the problem also is that we like to use the Monroe Doctrine as a defense. Like, oh, well, we have control over all of our hemisphere. And that truthfully is the deal we had with Europe, right? We were going to stay in our hemisphere and we weren't going to influence their hemisphere. But the problem is the Monroe Doctrine goes out the door when we start creating bases all over the rest of the world, including Europe. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say, oh, we want to enforce the Monroe Doctrine and we want to control our hemisphere of influence, but at the same time, we also want to be in your hemisphere of influence and control that too. At that point, you're just being imperialistic, right? Or am I wrong? Am I cooking here, chat, or am I talking out of my ass? He says, dude, we don't care. Russia could barely fight Ukraine. They exchange blows. Nobody can go blow for blow with us. Not even close. But Super Cent, okay, let's say that you're right, right? I'm going to give you that point. Let's say that nobody can go blow for blow with us and we are the dominant force on this planet. Does that make it right? Because what you're arguing with me is that might makes right. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. All that matters is that nobody else can stop us. Is that what you think this world should be based off of? You think we should live in a world where whoever has the most power to inflict damage is the one who has control? Because at that point, we might as well revert back to barbarism, right? We might as well go back full. We might as well go full imperial at that point and just take over the entire Central and South America. At that point, he says, finally, he says, you know what's funny is they haven't got together to try to jump us. They couldn't do anything if they even tried. So are you saying that you believe in might makes right? You think that because America is the main power and we have the best military on the planet, we should just steamroll everyone else? We should just start going into every single country and just taking over? Taking their land, taking their resources, taking whatever they have. No apologies, no excuses, no remorse. He says, it's the Donro now. Oh my God, bro. Yo, Super Set be trolling me. He has to be trolling me. He has to be trolling me. He said, it's the Donro now. Oh my God. First of all, nobody was saying that. Donald Trump made that shit up. He said, some people are calling the Monroe Doctrine the Donro. Nobody's calling it the Donro Doctrine, dude. Come on. Stop the cap. I just don't think that's the right way to operate the world, though, Super Cent. And I think that if you operate from that perspective of America is the most powerful country, we can do whatever we want, we'll kick down your door, take your wife, eat your food, burn down your house, and leave you destitute, and you have nothing to say because we're the most powerful country, I think you set yourself up for major failure down the line. In order for this to work, we need to maintain dominance forever. There can be no crack in our armor, no possibility of another country gaining power, because the problem with your philosophy is it puts everybody's descendants, right, in danger. It might not put you or me in danger. I mean, I don't see a world where America is not the primary superpower in my lifetime. I could be wrong. Maybe something happens that switches it up, like AI. But I don't think that that's going to be the case. So I think that for now, at least me and you are safe, right? But you put all of our descendants in danger, because what happens if in the future another country somehow topples the United States empire? Then what? Then what? Then you can expect to be dealt with the same hand, right? Because you've done away with all solidarity. You've done away with international law. You've done away with reason. You've just resorted back to caveman violence, bro. So that's why I disagree with you. I think that what you say might be true in the sense that, yes, America is the most powerful country. Nobody can stop us. But I think that that's a bad thing. I think that that's a bad thing. And I think it lends itself to abuse, right? Because what happens if you have all the power and nobody can control you or stop you? Then at that point, you start to abuse your power. And I think that that's the scenario that we're finding ourselves in right now. We find ourselves in a scenario where America has all of the power. There's nobody who can do pushback. And since there's nobody to do pushback, we're converting ourselves from the hero of the story to the tyrant of the story. And do you want to be the tyrant of the story, man? Do you want to be the catalyst that throws this world into darkness? And by the way, Eddie from Kick, thank you for joining the stream. On the Rise, thank you for joining the stream. Do you want to be the catalyst, the generation that throws this world into darkness? That's my question for you, I guess, Super Cent. Because I get it. It feels good to be powerful. It feels good to abuse your power. It feels good to be able to do whatever you want. It feels good to not have anybody hold you accountable. It feels good to be a goddamn warlord. But the life of a warlord is a life of violence, bro. That's the problem. And right now, America's acting like a warlord. You know, we went from being a country that was part of a League of Nations to being a country that thought it was the police of the League of Nations to a country that thinks that it's above the League of Nations. And now we're at a point where America thinks that they're a warlord over the League of Nations. And at that point, what do? Right? I'm serious. I'm really asking you a question, Super Sen. I want to know your answer, man. What happens if this year or next year or 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 10 years from now, China somehow develops some new technology that we're not privy to and they overthrow American dominance in the world? Would you be okay with them enforcing their beliefs and their policies on every single country by force? Do you think that's a good look? He says, we are warlords. We run the world. Our government runs the world. I mean, yes, I get that point, but do you think it's a good thing? That's my question. Because I think it's a bad thing. I think it's an inherent bad thing for the entire human species to have one country being the dominant country over everything. He says, China inventing. Yeah, okay, buddy. Eddie. Believe it or not, I do believe that the Chinese are capable of innovating, bro. I mean, come on, man. And I wouldn't be surprised, you know, right now we're in the AI race. You better be clutching your pearls, hoping that the Chinese doesn't develop general intelligent AI before us. Because if they develop AI, super intelligent AI before the United States does, we're cooked. I'm telling you right now, it's game over. It's game over.